Resolution number 26, 2010, resolution to give permission to attend the Association of Towns meeting.
I'm opposed to that. I think we spent far too much money over the years sending a representative to that meeting. I would offer, an amendment, a resolution to amend
Yes,
the acceptance of
an amendment.
Of all these resolutions in their entirety.
Right. It would be an amendment.
An amendment to remove Resolution 26 from all of these resolutions.
Or to offer resolution 26, 2010, resolution for 2010 not to expend funds to allow a member to attend this year's Association of Town meetings.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, or yeah, for discussion, for the amendment, for discussion. Just seemed, I brought this up talked to one or two of the board members about it. The sensitivity this year with budget considerations, again, this year, all the salaried employees did not receive any raises whatsoever. The last couple of years, I believe our incurred expenses are averaging about $1,800 a year for us to send a representative down to the Association of Towns. And I just think the sensitivity this year with how tight we were, that money could be allocated, to a better expense. So I don't have to defend in conversation to the people that did not receive raises the justification of why that seemed as a higher priority when I was doing the budget and not allocating specific expenditures for budgets and salaries, actually. So I just wanted to represent my feelings on that. I just did not feel comfortable in freezing everybody's salaries this year and then to turn around and say, well, I feel comfortable then expending up to $1,800 to support one individual to go down this year.
I would agree with that assessment, and I think that it's also costing, to take it a step further, it's also costing us more than we're getting out of it. It's been a continuous expense, at least for the 4 years that I've been on the board, and I don't see the kind of return coming from it that would justify the expense of it.
Okay.
And it is a board issue relative to whether or not someone is allowed to go. In other words, it's not required, it's not mandatory.
That's correct. I guess the representation from the council was that every year it is a determination by the majority members of the board to determine expenditures for any training and attendance of meetings and things like that. So there is no statute in New York State. There's municipal law that mandates it.
There's no special guideline that makes this different than any other, as far as anyone that wants to go can go, whether or not we wish it or desire it or authorize it. In other words, if the board says this year we're not sending anyone, then no one goes. Is that what you're saying?
That was that was the representation. I called the Association of Towns, their council, and asked them that specific question, and that's what they represented. That there was no statute in there that mandated that there had to be the allowance of that, that it's predetermined every year by resolution of the board. And so the majority can determine whether or not to expend those funds.
Right.
Well, in defense of this, I guess because I'm the one who usually goes, I do feel that it is a very enlightening and necessary thing for the town to be represented at the association. Although last year when I attended as a delegate of the town of Elizabethtown, and I got down there and found out that our town had not fulfilled its obligations to the association by means of not paying the dues I was neglected in being able to vote for the town on issues that concern the North Country in our area up here. If the town wishes not to have a voice in government and in the association, well, so be it. If it's a vendetta against me going down to New York to gain information, to try to keep myself abreast on what's coming toward us in the future, well, that's sad. So if this is to keep me off the booze cruise, that's too bad. If it's really an $1,800 expenditure, which would include, I'm assuming, the Association of Town dues, because I've never expended that amount of money, ever. Closer to $800 or $900 would be accurate.
No, it wouldn't be.
If you include the cost of joining the association, well, then it would be upwards, and I believe our dues to that are quite high. The benefits you get from being an association member, you know, if you've never been to a meeting and you don't know what you're talking about, you can't really say that's not a worthwhile thing. I'm not going to argue with you guys. If you don't want to go, you don't want to go. It is a tough time. Trust me, I can do just as well sitting at my house or enjoying myself here rather than spending my whole week of vacation that I get down there representing us, if that's what you wish.
Thank you. So you don't realize what we do pay for association dues that we have paid? That's correct.
I think it's $900 a year.
Which we did pay last year and all the years prior to that.
We paid it late,
We did.
so we couldn't be represented at the delegates' meetings.
But you did go down and stay.
Assuming I was going to be a delegate, and I
Right.
got down there, hey, guess what? You can't be a delegate. You didn't pay your dues.
So is your representation then that our vote is what's important? Or your time
I
and
say
what you
both are
did?
important. If you've never been to the meetings and you don't know what it entails, I don't know how you can make an informed decision on whether this is worthwhile or not. It's crazy. If you've never done something, how can you make a decision on it?
Well, I just want
And it
to, if
is
you'll allow
relevant.
me,
It
I
is
have been
relevant.
to those meetings.
Yes, I
and
know you have.
when I
I
was an
went with you.
assessor, yes, you went with me. I took classes while I was
Right.
down there for certification.
Mhm.
Experienced everything else. That was the only time I've been. Because there was no other certification as far as necessary, mandated, required classes. So I just felt, me personally, and we'll put this to a vote, that the sensitivity with the economic situation that we had today warranted the consideration, as you said,
I'm fine
to
with
take
that.
a time off.
I'm fine with that. If it's,
All right.
if it's that purpose, and I trustedly and know in my heart that it's not, but I don't care. Like I said, I can stay home and enjoy myself for a week instead of having to get up and go to meetings and struggle with the toil of New York City. I'm not going to miss it.
So stated.
Excellent.
Okay.
It'll save the taxpayers $5,000 perhaps, which is what's been expended for the past 4 years for this trip. 5,000 tax dollars. We
And
could probably
again,
do without this for a year.
If you've never been there, I pity you because you're not, mine's not open enough to take in what's available to you. It's sad.
It's the return to the town of Elizabethtown, what I consider when they try to justify 5,000 tax dollars, staying at
Yes,
$300
you're right,
at
Ken.
hotels in New York City.
I guess you're right.
Before we get away from this,
That's my opinion.
do you still intend that this town belongs to the association? We still
still
will
do.
pay those dues, and
Absolutely.
because we do get other benefits from belonging to the association, right?
Absolutely, yes. No, they're a great organization. We have and have always been a member of the association. Pay the dues every year. Sometimes they're way than others, but we use them as a reference on many things. I know that highway, they're available for them, for the town council members, for the board, for a supervisor to be able to call down, give legal representations on matters like that. It's well worth that as an investment. It is.
Our,
No expenditure for 2010 for the Association of Towns. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Opposed? Amendment carries.
Congratulations.